My selfish brother's girlfriend lied about me, and without hesitation, my family cut me off. Now they're begging for forgiveness, but I had one last move they never expected. I always knew my younger brother Ethan, a 23-year-old guy, was the golden child in our family. It was obvious. My parents, a 55-year-old woman and a 59-year-old man, treated him like royalty. At family events, they'd rave about his every move, even if he messed up spectacularly, like crashing his car into a pole, only for them to somehow blame the pole. I, a 25-year-old guy, was the scapegoat. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I wasn't Ethan. No matter how well I performed, it was never enough. Straight A's? They'd say Ethan was just naturally gifted and didn't need to study. Win an award? They'd dismiss it as a minor achievement. Work hard at a summer job? They'd chuckle about how Ethan was living his best life instead of slaving away. I was just background noise in their eyes. And Ethan? He wasn't just their favorite. He was cruel to me, too. Ethan had a knack for turning our parents against me. He didn't need much effort since they already favored him. When I was 17, studying for a major exam, Ethan would barge into my room, mess with my things, tap me on the head, or hum loudly to annoy me. I told him to leave, but he wouldn't. After 10 minutes of this, I snapped, slammed my book shut, and yelled at him to get out. Predictably, he ran to our parents, claiming I was always angry and intimidating him. I tried explaining, but they didn't care. They told me to control my temper and stop picking on my poor brother. Ethan was a pro at sowing doubt. He'd drop subtle hints to make them suspicious of me. Once I saved up for a new laptop, something I was proud of after months of work. Ethan, jealous, casually said to our parents, "How could he afford that? You sure he didn't steal it?" That was enough for them to interrogate me about my finances, demanding proof of my earnings. They'd never question Ethan like that. But with me, they assumed the worst, so I learned to stay out of their drama. I focused on myself, working out, learning new skills, saving every penny. I knew I'd never get handouts, so I made sure I didn't need them. Ethan, on the other hand, lived like life was a never-ending party. He never kept a job for long, always chasing some new hobby or half-baked business idea that went nowhere. He went to college, but not to learn, just to party and scrape by, all funded by our parents. Then came Mia, Ethan's 22-year-old girlfriend. They met in college and she was his type. Loud, attention-hungry, always posting on social media like she was some big-time influencer. Mia thrived on chaos. If there wasn't drama, she'd create it. She exaggerated everything. A weird look from a cashier became, "They're jealous of me." A professor's feedback was, "They're targeting me because I'm too attractive." A wrong order at a restaurant? A personal attack. She had to be the center of attention, always hijacking conversations, the classic pick-me girl. At first, I didn't care. Ethan went through girlfriends quickly, so I figured she'd be gone soon. But Mia stuck around and I started noticing things. She was getting too comfortable with me, too flirty. It started innocently enough. She'd compliment me when no one was around. "You're so dedicated, I wish Ethan was like that." I brushed it off, thinking she was just chatty. But then it got weird. She'd ask personal questions about my gym routine, what supplements I used, or how often I worked out. Then came the suggestive comments. "You must have girls all over you at the gym." Or, "If I worked out like you, maybe I'd look half as good." She'd text me out of the blue, asking for advice on random things. At first, it was harmless, like, "What's a good fitness app?" But then it turned blatant. "Ethan's so lazy sometimes, LOL. You should train me." I kept my responses curt and cold. When she crossed a line, I told her, "Stop texting me like that." She'd back off briefly, then start again, like she thought persistence would wear me down. In person, it was worse. If we were alone, like if Ethan stepped out, she'd stand too close, laugh at nothing, or accidentally brush against me. Her compliments felt like propositions. I was repulsed, but she was clever, never saying anything outright incriminating. Looking back, I should have shut it down harder, but I thought she was just trying to stir up trouble with Ethan. Then, one night after a family dinner, she took it too far. She slipped into my room, leaned in close, and dropped her voice. She said she was tired of Ethan, that I was different, that no one would know if we kept it secret. Then she tried to kiss me. I pushed her away instantly. "Are you insane?" I snapped, telling her to stay away from me or I'd tell everyone. Her expression changed, not embarrassed, not sorry, just cold and calculating. She smirked, then left like nothing happened. I thought she'd back off, but I underestimated her. The next day I came home to a tense house. My parents were icy. Ethan glared at me like I'd committed a crime. Then Mia, standing behind them, started sobbing. I didn't want to say anything, but he tried to force himself on me last night. I was stunned. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd. She'd come on to me, and now she was flipping the script? I tried to explain. She'd made the move, I'd rejected her, and this was her revenge. But no one listened. They didn't ask for evidence or consider my side. My dad just said, "Pack your stuff and leave." My mom wouldn't even look at me. I wanted to argue, to scream at them for believing her so easily, but I saw their faces. They'd already decided. Years of being the problem child had sealed my fate, so I grabbed a bag and walked out. Being kicked out hurt, but the ease with which they did it, that cut deeper. No hesitation, no doubt, just me, erased from the family like I'd never existed. No calls, no texts, not even a "Are you okay?" from my mom. They discarded me completely. In a way, it was freeing. I had nothing, no family, no safety net, just a bag of clothes, a few $100, and my car. I spent the first few nights sleeping in it, which wasn't exactly a vacation, but I'd saved some money from odd jobs, enough to avoid homelessness. Then my cousin Jake, a 28-year-old guy who'd always had my back, called. He never bought me a story and offered me a place to crash. He was more of a brother than Ethan ever was. I stayed with him briefly, not wanting to burden him, but we kept in touch. Within a week, I landed a temp job at a warehouse. It paid poorly, but I took it. I scraped together enough for a room in a sketchy shared house. Thin walls, questionable roommates. I also picked up night shifts at a gas station. 2 jobs, no sleep, just grinding. I ate cheap, slept in my car between shifts, and kept moving. I refused to wallow. Every moment spent sulking was a moment not building my way out. Meanwhile, Ethan was living large. I tried not to check his social media, but sometimes I'd peek. It was always the same. Parties, trips, new toys, still posting with Mia. My parents were funding his carefree life while I was scraping by. It stung, not just the unfairness, but knowing how this would end. Ethan had no skills, no work ethic, just burning through money like it was infinite. I knew he'd crash eventually. I kept pushing. The warehouse job became permanent and I took every extra shift. I lived frugally, saving every cent. Once I had a small buffer, I started learning, reading about finance, investing, and business. I taught myself basic coding, enough for online side gigs. I didn't just want to survive, I wanted to be unstoppable. Soon I started freelancing, small jobs like building basic websites or writing blog posts for $10 to $20. It wasn't much, but I stuck with it. Each gig brought more experience, better reviews, and bigger projects. Eventually, I was earning as much from freelancing as from the warehouse. The first time I made $1,000 in a month from side gigs, it felt like proof I could escape the grind. After a year, I moved out of that awful shared house into a small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. That's when things took off. I quit the warehouse and went all in on freelancing. Without the long hours and exhaustion, I could focus on growth. I raised my rates, learned SEO, digital marketing, and e-commerce, and built websites that drove real results for businesses. Clients started seeking me out. By year 2, I was comfortable. No debt, savings in the bank, and freedom to work on my terms. But I wasn't done. I wanted more than just freelancing. I built my own website, created service packages, and marketed myself as a consultant. I automated small tasks, emails, invoices, scheduling, and outsourced work to other freelancers, taking a cut while ensuring quality. By year 3, I was earning more than I'd ever imagined. Not filthy rich, but enough to live well, save, and never worry about bills. Most importantly, I had control. No boss, no fixed schedule, just me calling the shots. I'd cut my family off completely after the Mia incident. They never reached out, and I didn't care. I stayed close with Jake, though. We'd catch up occasionally. One day, after months of not seeing him, he called saying he had big news. We met at a cafe, and he jumped right in. "You won't believe this." He told me Ethan's life was falling apart. The lavish trip stopped, his social media flexing slowed. He was broke. He'd tried some get-rich-quick business that tanked, burning through his savings. His party friends ditched him when the money dried up. And Mia? She bailed too. Turns out she'd cheated on him with a friend. Jake and I both saw that coming. She was only in it for the lifestyle. Once Ethan couldn't fund her Instagram dreams, she was gone. My parents were finally waking up. They'd spent years bankrolling Ethan, hoping he'd magically succeed. Now, with nothing to show for it, they were questioning everything. I didn't feel bad. They'd made their choice. But here's the kicker. Mia, who loved to talk when drunk, spilled the truth one night. She admitted to her friends that she'd lied about me, that I never touched her, that she made it all up because I rejected her and threatened to expose her. She laughed about how my parents bought her act without question. Her friends, just as toxic, recorded it. One of them, maybe out of spite, sent the video to my parents. I wasn't there to see their reaction, but I can imagine the guilt hitting them hard. Proof they'd destroyed their relationship with me over a lie. Then, as Ethan's life crumbled, my family reached out. Missed calls from my parents, messages from my mom like, "We need to talk," and voicemails begging for forgiveness. Ethan texted too, asking to catch up. I ignored them. They weren't sorry. They just wanted to ease their guilt. But one voicemail from my mom caught my attention. "Ethan's in trouble. Please, call back." I laughed. Trouble? What, did he max out another credit card? Another failed scheme? Curiosity got me, so I called back after a day. My mom answered instantly, sounding desperate. "Ethan's in debt," she said. "Bad investments, loans, and now the banks won't help." I asked, "What's that got to do with me?" She paused, then said, "You're doing well. You could help." There it was. Their perfect son had crashed, and now they wanted me, the son they threw away, to save him. I let the silence linger before saying, "You're kidding, right?" She pleaded, "We made mistakes, but family helps family. You wouldn't let us suffer, would you?" I cut her off. "You believed a liar, kicked me out, and ignored me for years. Now you want my help?" "Not happening." Instead of hanging up, I said, "I'll think about it," and ended the call. I wasn't considering it, I just wanted them to stew in uncertainty. I agreed to meet them, but on my terms. I told my mom to bring everyone, her, my dad, Ethan, to a fancy restaurant they could barely afford. They probably thought I chose it to be nice. When I walked in, they looked rough. My mom seemed older, my dad uncomfortable, and Ethan like a broken man. I sat down and said, "Go ahead." My mom launched into a speech about family and forgiveness. My dad mumbled about mistakes. Ethan begged, "I messed up, but I just need a little help to get back on track." I let them talk, savoring it. Then I said, "No." My mom gasped. "Be reasonable," she urged. "Reasonable?" I shot back. "You ditched me over a lie and only care now because Ethan's out of options." Ethan tried. "I'm your brother." "No," I said. "You stopped being my brother when you let me take the fall." I pulled out my wallet, placed a $100 bill on the table, and said, "Buy some self-respect." Then I walked out. That moment, years of anger, betrayal, all of it, dissolved as I left them staring at that bill, an insult they couldn't ignore. Months later, I was thriving. My business grew, my circle stayed tight, and I was at peace. Ethan? Not so much. His debt spiraled. He got desperate, dabbling in shady deals to make quick cash. But he wasn't smart enough to stay clean. Bad deals, unpaid loans, and soon he faced charges. Fraud, embezzlement, the works. The guy who had everything handed to him ended up in prison, broke and alone. My parents were crushed, not because he was a criminal, but because their perfect son wasn't perfect anymore. They'd burned every bridge with me, and now their loyalty to Ethan had backfired spectacularly. I didn't care. I was too far ahead to look back. Update. Thanks for all the support, everyone. I didn't expect this story to resonate so much, but your comments mean a lot. To those asking if I regret cutting them off, nope. I built my life without them, and I'm proud of it. They didn't stand by me when I needed them, so they don't get to share in my success now. And Ethan? No word from him. Guess it's hard to beg from a cell. My business is killing it. I'm landing bigger clients, getting invited to exclusive networking events, and I've built a solid team so I can actually enjoy the fruits of my labor. I've moved on from the family drama. Chapter closed. But Mia? She didn't get the hint. A few months ago, she resurfaced, throwing shade on social media. Some people get ahead by stepping on others. Success doesn't hide your past. Vague, but obvious. I ignored it. My life's too good to care about her bitterness. Then she crossed a line, contacting my clients and insinuating I was untrustworthy, that I'd done shady things to succeed. One client asked me about her directly. That's when I lawyered up. That old video, where Mia admitted to lying about me, was gold. My lawyer said it proved her pattern of defamation. Combined with her recent antics, we had a strong case. We sued. Mia tried to backtrack, claiming she was just venting, but the video destroyed her. In court, she played the victim, but the judge wasn't fooled. She was found liable for defamation, ordered to pay damages, and forced to post a public apology on her social media, admitting her lies, past and present. Her influencer career tanked. Followers ditched her, brand deals vanished, and her online presence crumbled. She tried to mess with me again, but this time, she paid the price. Life's great, business is booming, and some bridges are better left burned. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.